Hi there, Smart Drivers. Rick with Smart Drive Test talking to you tonight about frequently asked questions for Boxing Day. For those of you taking a road test this week, in the next couple of days here, would be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. There we go. Getting everything going here. So I'm going to talk to you about that. Now, I've been trying to get set up with new stuff here and getting up a new studio for you instead of you looking at all that green back there with my green screen and whatnot. So I have a few things for you to look at while we're talking. And so tonight I'm going to go over the main points for being successful on a road test. I'm also going to go over some of the points and reasons for automatic fails on a road test, in addition to the fact that you probably haven't practiced enough and your skills aren't at a high enough level. And because your skills aren't at a high enough level, unfortunately you're not going to be successful enough. And what they're going to say is they're going to tell you a couple of things that you did wrong. They're going to give you a little bit of feedback. They're going to focus on your weakest points, and then they're going to say, you know, you're going to need to try this again, which essentially means that you're going to need a bit more practice. So Big Money Boss is here. True Green is here. True Green is studying for license. True Green, which license are you studying for? Are you studying for your first license, or are you studying for a commercial license, a CDL license? Big Money Boss is here. How's the weather? Big Money Boss there in Las Vegas. And now, I know you've been there a few months now. How do you find the winters compared to that in Colorado? Because that's where you were previously. I know that right now here in Vernon, British Columbia, in Canada, we're having a bit of a cold snap. So it's like minus 13 degrees Celsius, which I think is about 20 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's pretty cold. True Green, you're going for a Class D. So does that mean... True Green, are you somewhere in the States, or are you in Ontario or one of the provinces here in Canada? Just let me know where you are. So that's a straight truck. And my my good friend Tim from Basic Joomla Tutorials is here. Basic Joomla Tutorials is in blue, so I guess he's showing up here. He may or may not moderate for me. So Tim had a great Christmas. If any of you need a website or any advice on website or YouTube or online counseling or those types of things, or need advice, Tim is more than happy to help you out. And Tim is really great because Tim looks after the Smart Drive Test website, and we're working on that and trying to get it going better here in the new year. And as well, Tim builds websites that you yourself can work on, and that's the great thing about the work that Tim does with Joomla and whatnot. So if you're not familiar with Joomla, Joomla is the counterpart to WordPress. So you've probably heard about WordPress. It's a content management system for websites and allows you to go in and do a lot of work yourself. I use Joomla. I've used WordPress, but I don't like WordPress as much. So that's my little pitch about that. So True Green is in Massachusetts. You're working on your Class D. Now just clarify, True Green, that I'm correct that a Class D is a straight truck. It's a big truck, 2 axles on the back, so tandem on the back of the truck. Is that correct in terms of what I can tell you about that? Because I'll be able to give you some more information about that. Gordon is here. Been driving a snowblower. So Gordon, what is the snowblower attached to? Is it on a tractor, or is it on a truck, or some other piece of machinery? Just let me know that. Okay. Jesus Miranda, Asbury Park, New Jersey. Hi there. How are you? Jesus, didn't you and I talk the other day about Asbury? Didn't you do your road test just the other day? You were having some difficulties with highways, I remember, and I was looking up on the map and that for you. Jesse, go for my road test tomorrow. Thanks, Jesse. I did see that previously, and thank you for repeating that, because it's kind of zipping past here on the live feed. So thanks for repeating that. Ped Riled, heavy storms coming to southern Europe this week. Heavy wind and rain, tough days on the road ahead. Cheers from Portugal. That is awesome. What time is it in Portugal there, Ped Riled? Okay, Class D in Massachusetts. I'll have to look that up, True Green. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to go over some of that. I don't have a PowerPoint presentation for you tonight, but what I do have is I have a bunch of notes here, and I'm just going to go over the notes. And if you have any questions, by all means, ask me questions, and then I will more than happy to answer your questions. Okay, Zahua Chiki. Hello, everyone. I have mine next month, and I've already failed 3 times. Well, I'm sorry to hear about your unsuccessful attempts, but you're going to do the work. You're going to be successful on your road test, and you're going to get that happening. So everything seems to be working. Wat D Dodo 870. Hello, everyone. I don't think I pronounced that properly, but Hi there. Oh, it's 2 a.m. in Portugal. Well, I appreciate you tuning in at 2 a.m. here. I'm going to have to do some of these differently so that for those of you in Europe and other parts of the world, you can tune in and it's not 2 a.m. in the morning for you. Kisu, hey, how's it going? Rupert's here. Rupert got his. Now just remind me, Rupert, you got your license a few months ago, didn't you? You were working in New York City area somewhere in one of the suburbs there, were you not? Okay, Jesse. Do you know? Okay, Jesse, I can't answer that question for you about a specific DMV, but there might be some other smart drivers here that might be able to help you with that question that you've asked as well. The other thing, Jesse, that I suggest is look down in the description box there for the mastermind, the link to this mastermind group over on the Facebook page, and go over there and join the mastermind group and talk to people in the mastermind group, because the more people that we get involved in our mastermind group over on the Facebook page, the more local information and specific information that we're going to be able to share amongst smart drivers. Because I'm in Canada, I have obviously been to the States, but as I say to every smart driver, before you go through your road test, if you haven't taken driving lessons, hire a driving school and take a mock road test. Spend an hour, spend 90 minutes, take a mock road test. A driving instructor will be able to identify the gaps in your abilities and skills and say to you, listen, you need to practice your parallel parking a little bit more. You need to practice your speed control a little bit more. They'll be able to identify what you need to strengthen for the purposes of passing your road test. So I do highly encourage you. Now, the other part about hiring a driving instructor, and my good friend Peter here in Vernon said to me that you need to book this about a month out because they're pretty busy, and in order to get it, you know, in the few days before your road test, you need to book it about a month out. All right, so Matt is here. Hi, Matt. Kisu, I'm good. How are you? Did you have a good holiday season? Snowblower is the one you sit on. I also use the lawnmower type one. Oh, there you go. Okay, so so are you just doing your own driveway, Gordon, or are you doing other driveways and whatnot? Okay, excellent, Jesse. That's great. Okay, yes. Now, Jesse, your dad is really good, and there's no doubt about it. He does drive for a living, but just know that driving and getting a license, or driving for the purposes of passing a road test, those are two different animals, okay? There are specific skills, techniques, and abilities that you need for the purposes of a road test, which your dad may or may not be aware of. Okay, a driving instructor teaches people how to pass a road test. So I strongly encourage you to go and see a local driving instructor, because local driving instructors will be able to give you specific information about the DMV, where you're taking your road test, or the driving authority, the Ministry of Transport, ICBC here in British Columbia, or wherever that may be, and they can give you specific information. And the other thing that they won't tell you is that they will take you on the test route, okay? They won't tell you that you're on the test route, but they will take you on the test route, so know that about a driving instructor, all right? Thanks very much, Tim, for putting that up for the link for the mastermind group. That's great. Anne-Marie, hi from Nanaimo. I passed my Class 1 driver's road exam. Yes! That is no small feat, Anne-Marie, and that is really awesome. Congratulations on passing your Class 1 there in Nanaimo. That's really awesome. Okay, so Rupert, yes, as I remembered correctly, he did get his license in July, and I used to work unemployed at the moment, but I'm going to ask you about that. Do you know any jobs that require a Class D license? So just remind me, Rupert, in the state of New York, we were talking about that earlier in Massachusetts, Class D is also a car in New York State. Am I correct on that? All right, so oh, you are most welcome, Anne-Marie. I'm glad that we could help you get your CDL license there in Nanaimo. That's really great. And, you know, I worked a little bit on the island there in Sydney training truck drivers and whatnot, so that's really great. So, Anne-Marie, do you have a job lined up? Or are you going to be working there in Nanaimo or someplace else? Is there any sort of employment opportunity on the horizon for you? Gordon, driveways and on-call bases, the lawnmower type for my own. Yeah. Does your snowblower have a cab on it? Just let me know that. Okay. Yeah, that's going to be great. Very much, Anne-Marie. And as well, Anne-Marie, Basic Joomla tutorials. Tim's son actually works there on the island, and I think he's still working as a truck driver. Tim, is he still working? Is Clayton still working as a truck driver there on the island? He might be able to help Anne Marie out there in Nanaimo. So yeah, that's a possibility too. So we know people that we can get you hooked in here. Okay, Mohammed. I'm sorry, I kind of bypassed, but I'm here. Yes, you can, Mohammed. You can ride your bicycle on the roadway. Just be very careful because other cars don't know that you're going to be there, especially this time of year with snow and that sort of thing. And as well, Mohammed, a lot of the roadways here are going to have bicycle lanes, so know that as well. Okay? So if anybody has any question, I'm just going to start going through some of these points that I've written down here. Layla, road test in Oshawa, failed 5 times. We do not, schools, no luck. Yeah, Layla, that's pretty tough. You need to keep going. But what I really strongly suggest that you do, maybe take a mock road test if you haven't done so already. Okay, so Anne Marie, you're hoping to do long haul Vancouver to San Francisco and LA, California. Yeah, Anne Marie, you're probably going to be able to do that. It's, you know, they are looking for long haul drivers. So Matthew, thank you so much for that. You got your license back in August. That is really great. Okay, and yes, you still haven't gone to see Sam. Yes, okay. Rupert, just remind me, is a Class D a car license there? Because, I mean, there is work for car drivers. If you've got a car license, you can do courier work and those types of things. I mean, there's also driving seniors around, moving cars between states and those types of things. So there are a lot of different jobs. One of the things that I would suggest that you do is maybe Google that and just, you know, driving jobs, because there's lots of people who are living in New York State who drive their car to Florida, or they need it brought back from Florida and those types of things. So there are lots of different things that you can do. Okay. Okay, there we go. Tim, Anne Marie, you guys got hooked up. That's really great. UNESCO, thank you for that. Yes, I've been picking those up for a while, UNESCO, and I just thought it was way more interesting to look at than I was having you look at before. True Green, truck drivers drive coast to coast. Not all the time, True Green. There are there's three basic categories for truck drivers. There's local work, regional work, and long haul work. So the long haul work is the coast to coast stuff that you're talking about. Yes, that is one of them. And then regional is drivers that are, say, gone for a day. So from where you are in Massachusetts, they would be, you know, out for a day, maybe down to Philadelphia and then back to Massachusetts. And so those would be considered regional drivers. They might be gone for a day, maybe 2, and then back. But for the most part, they drive, you know, 100, 200, 300 mile radius of where they live. And then there's local drivers who, it's usually called P&D work, which is called pick up and drop, which is generally within a city. Those are the 3 broad areas of truck driving. And then within the sort of P&D and regional work, you get a lot of vocational work, which is a lot of what we have here in Vernon, British Columbia, which is truck drivers who haul logs and chip haulers. So we have a lot of wood chips that they haul, that they make board out of, you know, press board and those types of things. So we get a lot of that as well. It is a car license, yes. So Rupert, there is a lot of work to do with just a car license. So, you know, there's driving cars between states for people who want cars moved. There's courier work and all kinds of other work, you know, delivering parcels and those types of things. So just have a look and just have a Google of it and see what you can come up with. Okay, Elia, and I apologize if I didn't pronounce that right. Are the adjustments allowed to reverse stall parking test, or does one have to back into the stall perfectly? No, you don't have to back into the stall perfectly. Now, you are allowed a... Okay, you are allowed more than 1 or 2. I was banning somebody there who's back, my spammer's back, who I appreciate because, you know, we're doing the right thing if they're spamming my channel. And I do apologize for those of you who saw that, and we're trying to get rid of that. So anyway, okay, so back to the question. Backing into the space. No, you don't have to back into the space perfectly. You can do adjustment, but if you're doing 3 or 4 adjustments, it simply demonstrates to the examiner that you're A, either too nervous, or B, you haven't practiced enough and don't have the skills to do that. So know that you just need to practice a little bit, and you're probably going to be all okay. Do not use her name. That's a great username. Ryan's doing his road test in February. That's great. And more prepared practice. Yeah, you've got lots of time for practice there, Ryan, for your road test coming up. In the lineup, and my friend swapped seats just before the test. I took the driver's seat. So don't use their name. Did they think that your friend was going to take the road test for you? Is that what happened? Just clarify that for me. Okay, Anthony. Okay, Anthony, the type of car, if you've been on the live feeds before, probably this is your first time. I'm very biased in the cars that I recommend for new drivers. I either recommend an older Toyota or an older Honda. Both of those are really good vehicles. They hold their value. They're really just durable vehicles, and you can pick one up for a couple of $3,000 probably in the States. My Honda has 350,000 kilometers on it, which is about 190,000 miles, and it's really, you know, it's a reliable vehicle. So that's what I would recommend. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, bad word, True Green, indeed. Wide well turning. Calibo 58, what I would suggest is that you need to slow down on the turns. So for right-hand turns, you want to do sort of 10 to 12 kilometers an hour, or 8 to 10 miles an hour. On left turns, depending on how big the intersection is, you want to be doing sort of 15 to 25 kilometers an hour, or sort of 15 to 18 miles an hour. So okay. Okay, let's see. Yiffy, luckily I passed my road test. However, with curb parking, sometimes I feel like the car is straight, but it's actually not parallel to the curb. Any suggestions? Yiffy, when you're parking along the curb, you want to look farther down the road and try and pick the landmarks of the vehicles that are already parked along the roadway, and you want to use them as a landmark. And also, if there are meters along the curb there, use the meters as well and the hydro poles as landmarks. Have a look. Have you seen the video already here on curb parking, the specific video on curb parking? Have a look at that if you haven't looked at it already, and see if that'll help you out. Okay. Ryan, on road tests, do they get someone to parallel park between two cars or a zone where there's a pylons? It depends, Ryan, where you're taking your road test. The authority where you're taking your road test, it might be different. Some will have you park behind a single vehicle, or they will have you park in a closed area between pylons. It's really unlikely that they're going to get you to parallel park between two vehicles. Most driving centers don't get you to do that because it's just too high risk, it's too dangerous, and most new drivers are just too nervous to be able to do that. So you're either going to park behind one car, or you're going to do it in a closed area off some sort of fixed object. Excuse me. Okay. Okay, do not use their name. No, they thought I was driving without supervision because I was alone in the car for the 10 seconds that my supervisor driving stepped out. Oh. And they didn't listen to you to explain that? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. William, my parents got me a BMW for Christmas when I asked for a Mercedes. It's so possible to drive it without feeling like a poor person. I feel for you, William. That's all I'm going to say. I feel for you. Any tips on parallel parking? Do you think rear cameras can help with this? Okay, Matt, you cannot use rear cameras for the purposes of a road test. Okay, you have to look out the back window. You just simply cannot use it. And it's just practice after that. Okay? Okay, Gordon, best advice for going down a steep, curvy road on ice. You put the car in low and slowed down before it went. No, Gordon, do not slow down. Do not put the car in low. Actually, the better thing to do is to put the car in neutral and just use the brakes. You're going to have far more control, because if the car starts to slide, what you simply do is take your foot off the brake and then steer the vehicle, and then reapply the brakes when you get past that slippery section. That's the best thing to do. Putting it in low, you have far less control, because there's a possibility that the back wheels could lock up on you, and that's going to be more dangerous. Okay, so just put it in neutral. KDB, I take my road test end of January and was wondering what skills and types of roads I should be driving to prep. Yes, my person is black. Okay. I haven't done a driving school, but practice my parents. Thanks. Yes, KDB, definitely have a look at the series here, slow speed maneuvers, and that will give you all of the slow speed maneuvers that you need to do for the purposes of your road test. So 2-point reverse turn, 3-point turn, or called a K turn in the UK and other places, parallel park, curb parking, and then reverse stall parking. Those are the 5 basic skills that you're going to be doing. And just about anywhere that you're going to be doing, there are 2 absolute requirements. It doesn't matter where you take your road test. It's either going to be a reverse stall park or it's going to be parallel parking. So those 2, and you're probably going to have to do 3-point turn. So all of those I'd be ready with, okay? Yeah, do not use their name. Yeah, so unfortunately, no, I'm really sorry about that. Next time you take a supervisor with you, do not use their name. Make sure that the supervisor, the person that's with you, you know, I don't know why they didn't wait around and you go and get the person and say, hey, this person was driving with me, because yeah, that's just, I don't know what happened. I can't give you all of the details. Okay. Yeah, do not use your name. That's really odd, because most of the time when you go with a supervisor, the 2 of you will usually go into the examining office together, and then you'll check in. And then what happens is that in my experience, the driving examiner comes out to the car, and the student driver, the person taking the road test, is just sitting in the car. Their examiner's close by. But I mean, oftentimes I just wait until the examiner comes out. I'm not even in the car or near the vehicle. Like, I'm there and I say, hey, how's it going? And then I walk off. But I mean, it might be a little bit different with you, because what happens with the driving schools, the examiners at the driving centers always become kind of familiar with the driving instructors, and then they see them 2 or 3 times a week, right? So they become familiar with them. So if you are just with somebody else, they may not have known that you were with the supervising driver, and then just, or the person was having a bad day. I mean, unfortunately that happens too, where they're just completely unwilling to talk to you and those types of things. So if that happened, I'm really sorry about that. That really is a drag. Okay? Yeah, but it's a good point that the supervising driver should really stay around. That's a really good point that you made. Okay. True Gain, missing all my... Oh, what? Did I miss all your questions? Okay, so True Green, here we go. Okay, so we're going to go over that. So what you need to... So the way that you study for your test, True Green, go on the website and look up practice driving test questions. Don't read the manual cover to cover, because it's really boring. So find some practice driving test questions. Practice the driving test questions. Don't think of them as testing your ability. Think of them rather as identifying the gaps in your knowledge. And then after you get all that done, then go back to the manual and look up the bits that you don't know, and just keep practicing. When you're getting 80 or 90% consistently, then you're ready to do your written test. And that's the best way to do it, is to do practice driving test questions, because you have to realize there's a certain skill set in answering multiple choice questions. And it comes back to my tagline for my videos, right? Pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. And I'll give you an example of that. If they're asking you a question about four-way stops and who has the right of way at four-way stops, and the choices are the first vehicle to arrive, the vehicle on the right, the biggest vehicle, or the vehicle in the intersection, the 2 right answers for that question are the vehicle on the right and the first vehicle to arrive at a four-way stop sign intersection. However, the best answer is the vehicle that's in the intersection has the right of way, because you're not going to go if there's a vehicle in the intersection, because you're going to have a crash. And it also comes back to the point that I emphasize again and again, is that the right of way is never taken. The right of way is always given. So therefore, you have to give the right of way to vehicles already in your path of travel. So that's what I'm saying about the pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. So that's what I suggest to you, okay? There we go. Okay, Gordon, thanks for the pointers on that. Yes. No, unfortunately we don't. And you know something, Gordon? I'm still learning a lot of stuff. Even though with teaching all of this, I am learning heaps and heaps. Like today I was doing a lot of study on autonomous vehicles and listening to Elon Musk interviews and trying to get a sense of him and what he's thinking about in terms of autonomous vehicles, because I'm getting a lot of feedback and people are thinking that we're going to have autonomous vehicles in a couple of years, which, you know, I just really don't think so. So, okay. Yeah, unfortunately, do not username DMV. Yeah, sometimes they just don't listen. Okay. Thanks so much for that. Johnny, how are you? I was taking... Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're gone too. Thank you so much for all the spam. I appreciate it tonight. Okay. True Greens, yes. Okay, well, I'm glad that I caught you before you read the whole manual there, True Green. That's great. Okay. Yeah, Ryan, thanks for that. I am banning them, so hopefully we get a look on that. Of course, it's tonight that I'm by myself. Usually Corey's here, but Hori's away on holiday, so I thought I'd give it a go on my own. So I am trying to ban them before they get public, but unfortunately I'm not having any success with that. All right, so let's talk about road tests and how you need to be successful on road tests. So as I've talked about before, there are 4 basic components to any road test, okay? Regardless of class. This applies to cars, this applies to trucks, big trucks, CDL trucks, and it applies to buses as well. So space management, speed management, observation, and communication. These apply to all classes of license, okay? So space management, don't get near anything else. Don't get near any road users and don't get near other fixed objects, because if you do that, then that's going to cause the driving examiner to be tense, okay? So don't get near any fixed objects. As well, manage your speed, okay? The speed limit, posted speed limit, or the flow of traffic, whichever is less. This is how fast you have to go. And I had a couple of smart drivers ask me tonight on the channel, because it's snowing out, how fast can they go? How much less than the speed limit can they go for the purposes of the road test? Know that when it's snowing out, the farther you get away from the main roads, the more snow there's going to be on the roadway. So you are justified in going slower, but not too much slower, okay? Maybe 5 or 10 kilometers less than speed limit, 5 or 10 miles an hour if you're in the States or other places, okay? So know that for the purposes of the road test, okay? So space management, and speed management rather. So posted speed limit, flow of traffic, whichever is less. So those are the 3 definitions of speed. Posted speed limit, flow of traffic, or whatever the capability of the vehicle is. So if you're driving a tractor trailer and you're going uphill, it's not going to be able to do the speed limit, how fast that vehicle can go. Okay, that's how fast you're going to go. Alvin. Alvin, you would need to talk to truck driving schools in your local area for that. It can be sort of anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000 depending on which course you're going to take and how much work you need. So that's what I would suggest you do. That's the best thing to do. Okay, Music Man, my rehab specialist recommends practicing visual scanning. Yeah, that's a good thing. Observation is definitely one of them. So that's the other part of the 4 parts of a basic road test. Observation, you need to observe. You need to scan. You need to scan down the roadway, and you need to scan all the way, both sides of the roadway, and you need to shoulder check. And you need to shoulder check, excuse me, every time you move the vehicle laterally. Yeah, Ryan, I agree. Michael, I wish I could have just a couple of beers before my road test. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend that, Michael. Okay. Thank you for that. Do not use your name. That's awesome for the super chat there. For those of you who want your questions answered, I'm always open to super chat. Money is great. Okay. Darren. Yes, you do, Darren. You need to put your hand over the passenger seat and look straight out the back window when you're reverse parking. So know that, okay? And Big Money Boss is getting better at reverse parking. Yes, it is certainly just something that you have to practice, Big Money Boss. Okay. Calibu 58. When turning and departing a stop sign or red light, do I start turning as soon as I leave or when I reach close to the middle of the intersection? No, Calibu, as soon as you start moving, start turning. But it's like an adjustment thing. Okay, you're going to look, you're going to turn, you're going to look, you're going to turn. Okay, you're going to keep adjusting it. Okay, can I still pass my test if I have a low tire pressure light and one of my reverse lights isn't working? I would get the tire pumped up and I would try and get the reverse light fixed as well. It's a pretty easy fix. So those are kind of minor things. They're not going to check your reverse lights, but just in case, I would have it fixed, okay? That would be my recommendation. Matt, once you get a truck driving job, someone will be issued to vision. Yes, that is correct, Matt. Some truck driving companies will pay for you to go to driving school, so know that as well, okay? Okay. Hey, do not use your name. That is really great. I mean, that is really awesome. No, I greatly appreciate it. You know, anything helps. It all helps. That's really great. No, it's really, really stellar. All right, so the 4 basic components of a road test: space management, speed management, observation, communication. Where do you stop in traffic? You stop in traffic so you can see the tires of the vehicle in front of you, the tires making clear contact with the pavement. That's where you have to stop in traffic. As well, do not block intersections when you're driving. If you're coming up to an intersection and there's a bus on the other side of the intersection, do not proceed through that intersection until you can make and clear the intersection, because if you get caught out in the intersection and you're stuck there, you're going to fail your road test. That's an automatic fail, okay? Signal. You need to signal 3 flashes on the signal every time you change lanes or merge, okay? So make sure that you have 3 flashes on the signal before you start moving the vehicle laterally. All right. Shoulder checking. You need to shoulder check twice for every time you move the vehicle laterally, anytime that you change lanes, all right? So know that you need to do that, okay? Shoulder checking. Shoulder checking is only 90 degrees, so it's just like this. It's out the driver's window. On the driver's side, you're just looking 90 degrees because your peripheral vision is more than 180 degrees, so it's going to look out the back window for you, okay? And basically all it is 2 types of vision. You've got a central vision, which is an arm's length. It's about this much, quarter, and your peripheral vision is 180 degrees, and it's attracted to light and movement. So if there's movement or light in your peripheral vision, it's going to draw in your central vision, okay? So that's why it's only 90 degrees. All right. So know that for speed, posted speed limit under ideal conditions. If it's raining or there's snow on the road or those types of things, you are justified in going slower. So know that for the purposes of your road test. You will have to demonstrate that you can merge. I mean, unless you're in a small place, you know, like a 1-horse town or something like that where you're taking your road test. But most of you are going to have to merge on 2-lane roads and those types of things, all right? Running commentary. If you're having difficulty remembering stuff while you're practicing your road test, do a running commentary. That way, and you can do a running commentary while you're doing your road test. That way the driving examiner's not guessing what you're doing or what you're looking at, and it's going to make you improve your skills, your driving skills and abilities faster. And look on the channel here, there's a video for running commentary, and if I haven't done so already, I'll find it and I'll stick it down in the description for you so it's there. All right, because it really, really helps in learning how to drive. So essentially, you're driving down the road, there's a red car in front of me, 1/2 block, there's a yellow car up there and it's turning right, there's a big truck, I'm not going to sit beside the big truck, there's a red light, I'm preparing for the red light, and all of those types of things, okay? So that's sort of the running commentary that you can use for the purposes of passing your road test. All right, so lane changes, you need a minimum of 3 flashes on the signal before you start moving over left or right, and then you need to mirror signal shoulder check, look forward, keep the vehicle straight, and then mirror signal shoulder check again, shoulder check, and then start moving over and look while you're moving over, okay? All right, and those are basically the basic skills that you need, and you need to know that you have to reverse stall park, you have to do slow speed maneuvers, and if you haven't done so as well, look at the video on learning how to drive. It is the basics of how to learn how to drive. Go to the parking lot, get some of those 1 meter tall 36-inch pylons and work in the parking lot. That will help you to have better control of the primary controls. And as well, if you're taking your road test in the wintertime, there's a road test video here on taking it in the snow and ice, and know that you can't do steering and braking at the same time in the wintertime, okay? Know that as well. There we go. Thank you so much for that, for the super chat. It's really appreciated, guys. It's really super appreciated, okay? Underrated. Hey, Rick, if my car skids during my road test, should I steer in the direction of the skid and pump my brakes? Yeah. Underrated. I wouldn't recommend any of that. Get your foot off the throttle, get your foot off the brake, and steer in the direction you want to go. Don't that whole steering in the direction of the skid. You're not going to figure out which way it's going. Okay. Rupert, my driving examiner didn't want me to talk. That's weird. Did he or she give you a reason, Rupert, why they didn't want you to talk? Gordon, the reason they do that is for you to demonstrate that you have due care and control of the vehicle. That's what they want you to demonstrate, and that's why they want you to back up, because you have to demonstrate to the examiner that you have due care and control of the vehicle and that you are going to be safe. If you can't demonstrate that to an examiner, they're not going to let you go with a license. And that's the basic reason of why we do competency tests, which is basically a road test, okay? Brandon, thank you so much. Awesome, you passed your G2 license. That's really great. Okay. Okay, he zoomed off like he was in Apocalypse. Okay, Ryan, how many tests? Usually they'll give you 2 goes to try and get it in. If you're doing 3 or 4, usually they're gonna say no, you're not gonna get this at that point. Okay. Underrated. Could you explain how to get out of it? Okay, so underrated. What I did was I put on the Facebook Mastermind group, which you can find the link down in the description there. Go over there, have a look at the video. There's a truck crash on a bridge, and the truck spun out, and I explained all the reasons why the truck crashed and wiped out on the bridge. Now, the other thing that I would suggest is as soon as the vehicle starts to swerve and you're on a slippery section, you need to get your foot off the throttle, you need to get your foot off the brake. If you nail the brakes, it's just going to exacerbate that skid or spin. And then you have to steer in the direction you want to go. So look where you want to go. The other thing that you can do is make sure that you don't oversteer, okay? It's just simple quarter turns on the steering wheel. Because if you go more than a quarter turn, you're going to oversteer. What's going to happen is that once you oversteer, the back end's going to start coming around and you're going to lose total control of it. So it's basically off the throttle, off the brake, keep both hands on the steering wheel, and small small steers on the steering wheel, okay? So, yes, True Green, there are lots of bad words. And Darren, how do I know when to stop reversing on a 3-point turn? Okay, Darren, if you haven't looked at the video on 3-point turn already, when you're backing up, you want to, so you're going to be going this way when you're backing up, so you're looking this way, and when you get just about to the curb, look out this side on your left side, because that wheel is going to be the first wheel that's going to reach the curb. And you just, once you start feeling yourself getting close to the curb, just inch back. If you just nudge the curb, that's fine on a road test. If you bang the curb, that's different, okay? All right, Luid. Okay, did I see your comments on changing lanes? No. How many attempts do you have to pass your driver's permit written test? True Green, there's a certain number that usually on a new license for a learner's permit, it's 50 questions. And I think you have to get, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong in this, but I think you have to get 35 of the 50 questions correct, okay, for the purposes of your road test. Underrated. Yes, it is very tempting to try and press the brakes if there's a vehicle in front of you. Now, one of the other things, and this is a key point that you raise here, this is really good. If there are other vehicles in front of you, what you need to do to prevent a skid, first and foremost, is increase your following distance, because you are not driving under ideal conditions, because you know that the roadway is going to be slippery. Therefore, you want to increase your following distance. You want to get back farther. That way, if you do start losing control of your vehicle and it does start going into a skid, you're not going to be forced to be on the brakes, because you're not close enough to that vehicle that you're going to have to hit the brakes. Because if you do hit the brakes, I can guarantee you it's going to be over. Because what happens is when you hit the brakes in the car that's losing control and skidding, you shift the weight in the vehicle, so the back end comes up, the front end goes down, and because you've lifted the back end up, the back end is really light, and it accentuates the spin, and the vehicle now goes around. So you need to increase your following distance in the wintertime. Okay, Daniel Shams, in residential where there is cars parked on the sides, do I have to signal that I'm moving a bit to the left to avoid cars or not? Yes, Dana, always over signal. Okay, there's look at the changing lanes playlist here on the channel, and I'll put it down in the description as well. It will say to you, it'll show you how, if you move laterally at all, signal, and make sure that you shoulder check. That way you're not going to get into trouble with the examiner. All right? Okay. Yeah, Big Money Boss, we're going to have to figure out some way of getting rid of this person, because this person seems to have figured it out. And so Tim and I are going to talk about that and see if we can get rid of this person. Okay, do not username. Yeah, Canada. No, it's pretty much more or less the same. Okay, I'm not really following the conversation. You guys are having a bit of a different conversation. Okay, Lued got pushed up too far. I was just saying how the instructor told me not to take one hand off the wheel while reversing and to keep two hands on the wheel for better control. Okay, your instructor. So your driving instructor. Lued, sometimes you can't have both hands on the steering wheel, especially if you're looking out the back window. It's pretty tough to keep. Sorry, I got... All right, so Luad, sometimes you have to take both hands off the steering wheel to look out the back window. Okay, so know that. And you can't, it's not possible when you're backing up to keep both hands on the steering wheel, especially if you're looking out the back window. All right? Okay, so Matt, thank you for that. In Illinois, you got 3 times to pass your road test. Okay, Unesso, you and the other car stop at the same time. You're turning right, and the other car is turning to their left. Okay, do you get to go first because you're closer to the turn, or... no, Unesso, you both can go at the same time, because if you're turning right and the other car's turning left, you're not going to intersect... oh, sorry. No, my bad. Yes, the right turning vehicle goes before the left turning vehicle. You're correct on that. There you go. Brandon, Merry Christmas to you as well, Brandon. If I'm parked uphill with a curb, which should my wheels be? Okay, Brandon, it's the 3-in-1 rule. The only time that you put your wheels out towards the center of the road is when you're uphill with a curb. That's the only time they go out. All the other times they always go in, okay? So, and as well, there's a video on hill parking here, so have a look at that as well. Okay, Unesso. Okay, so yep. Yeah, underrated. Thanks for thanks for that. Yeah, definitely a troll for sure. Okay, Luad, yes, my driving instructor. I know it could be a bit harder to look out the rear window, though I'm not sure what the examiner would be looking for. Yeah, I'm not sure either, Luad, because you have to. It's pretty tough to keep both hands in the steering wheel, especially if you're looking out the back window. And yeah. Help with the troll, you can make me a chat mod and I'll be happy to help. Thanks, Underrated. I appreciate that. We're almost done here. I don't think too many more people have questions tonight, so So I think we're going to wrap it up there. If anybody else has questions, by all means, drop me an email, rick@smartdrivetest.com. I'll be more than happy to answer your emails as well. Leave me a comment down in the comment on the videos, and I'll be more than happy to help you with that. And yeah, and I hope everybody had a great holiday and a great Christmas. And if you don't practice all of that or subscribe to that, then by all means, just have a great holiday, and hopefully it's driving safe and those types of things. And I'm also as well planning another video for the oversteering video that I did last week. I'm going to do a more elaboration on that because I've got a few other things that I can say on that, and I've got some other tips that you can do to keep you safe and to get you out of a skid for those of you who might be driving on slippery conditions and in snow and ice and those types of things going up to the ski hill and whatnot. So I've got a bit more information for that as well. Okay, how much do you have to focus on licensing for the test? True green, not too much for that. It's a very small portion of it, okay? You are most welcome, Alaya. Okay, thanks very much, Alaya. Yeah, Alaya, I did see that, and I'm going into the mastermind group here right after I get finished this, and I'm going to answer questions and get caught up on that because I know with the holidays here, I sort of didn't get some of that done. All right. Do not use your name. God bless. Yes, have a great 2018 ahead. You as well. We got lots of plans here, so it's all going to work out. It's going to be great. Caliboo 58 of my road test tomorrow. Yes. Okay, Caliboo, get a good night's sleep. Eat your breakfast. Show up about an hour early. Make sure you bring your license. Make sure you remember to breathe. Okay. And as... oh, I'm sorry. I'm just having a brain cramp here. Make sure your supervisor stays around because you don't want the same thing to happen there, okay? So all that is going to be great. And yeah, you're going to do well. Just remember to breathe, take your time, and you know, don't get in a hurry. Do your skills and abilities and techniques that you have to demonstrate for the purpose of your road test, and you're going to be great. And thank you so much for those of you who donated and made super chat. That's really awesome. I really appreciate that. And for those of you taking your road test this week, for those of you taking your road test tomorrow, good luck on that, and good luck. Congratulations to all of the smart drivers that have passed in the last week. That's really great work, and we look forward to talking to you after the holidays. We're going to get back on schedule here, but I'll put up the next one. I'll see when I'm going to put up the next Smart Sunday live event, and I'll help you out. Leave comments down in the comment section if you like what you saw here. Certainly hit that thumbs up button. That helps us out, and be sure to share as well. And what I'll do is I'll put highlights up of the event here, and we'll get that going as well. So thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for your time. Good luck in your road test, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a good night. Bye now.